This is a Ramana Maharshi clip, a talk by Ramana Maharshi with comments by Richard Clarke. This is a time to listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. I'm Richard Clarke. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks for Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is talk number 17, part 3, the final part of this talk. The questioner, celibacy is a sine qua non for yoga? Maharshi, so it is. Celibacy is certainly an aid to realization among so many other aids. Questioner, is it then not indispensable? Can a married man realize the self? Maharshi, certainly, it's a matter of fitness of mind. Married or unmarried, a man can realize the self because that is here and now. If it were not so, but attainable by some efforts at some other time, and if it were new and something to be acquired, it would not be worthy of pursuit, because what is not natural cannot be permanent either. But what I say is that the self is here and now and alone. The questioner asks, how long did it take Maharshi to realize the self? Maharshi, this question is asked because the name and form are perceived. These are the perceptions consequent on the identification of the ego with the gross body. If the ego identifies itself with a subtle mind, as in dream, the perceptions are subtle also. But in sleep, there are no perceptions. Was there not the ego still? Unless it was, there cannot be the memory of having slept. Who was it that slept? You did not say in your sleep that you slept. You say it now in your wakeful state. The ego, therefore, is the same in wakefulness, dream, and sleep. Find out the underlying reality behind these states. That is the reality underlying these. In that state, there is being alone. There is no you, no I, nor he, no present, nor past, nor future. It is beyond time and space, beyond expression. It is ever there. Just as a plantain tree produces shoots at its roots before yielding fruits and perishing, and these shoots being transplanted do the same again, so also the original primeval master of antiquity, Dakshinamurti, who cleared the doubts of his rishi disciples in silence, has left shoots which are ever multiplying. The Guru is a shoot of that Dakshinamurti. The question does not arise when the self is realized. Questioner, does Maharshi enter the Nirvikalpa Samadhi? Maharshi, if the eyes are closed, it's Nirvikalpa. If open, it is, though differentiated, still in absolute repose, Savakalpa. The ever-present state is the natural state, sahaja. In this dialogue, the conversation begins with celibacy as the prerequisite for yoga and self-realization. Is celibacy essential for yoga and self-realization? Ramana Maharshi acknowledges that celibacy can be a valuable aid among many other aids on the path to realization, but it is only an aid. Asked if celibacy is indispensable, Ramana responds that whether a person is married or unmarried, the ability to realize the self depends on the fitness of the mind, not the state of marriage. Ramana says that celibacy can be helpful, but it's not an absolute requirement. What is required is an inward-turned mind. Ramana emphasizes that the self is not something to be attained through effort or at some other time. It is already present here and now. If it were not natural and ever present, it wouldn't be worth pursuing. This self is not something new that you somehow acquire, but a realization of your true nature, the nature that has always been there. Maharshi says that the self transcends name and form. Name and form are within the self, not the other way around. It exists beyond the limitations of time and space. Time and space are within the self. The self cannot be expressed with words. Words point to objects. The self is not an object. The self is the knower and not the known. In the self, there's no distinction between you, I, or he. There are no differences. Ramana draws an analogy to a plantain tree that produces shoots at its roots while generously producing fruit. Similarly, the primordial master Dakshinamurti answered the doubts of his disciples with his silence. Ramana considers himself as a shoot of that same tree. Maharshi explains that questions about his personal experiences, such as entering Nirvikalpa Samadhi, are irrelevant. He suggests that such distinctions are unnecessary when one realizes the self. Instead, he points to the ever-present natural state called sahaja, which is beyond the classifications of nirvikalpa and savikalpa. When I asked my teacher about his practice and self-realization experience, he responded, "What good will it do for you to know about someone who doesn't exist?" This dialogue with Ramana Maharshi highlights that celibacy is just an aid, and what really matters is first that the self is immediate and available, and next, your readiness to dive into it. It transcends name and form. It transcends the mind. It is the ever-present natural state. Dive in. So inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace. These videos help bring Ramana Maharshi's teachings into your direct experience. Subscribe now